Today, we're going to talk about something I'm pretty sure you've felt. It's that feeling that the world is just changing faster than ever. Technology, culture, everything. It can feel like you're trying to drink from a fire hose. So we're diving deep into this feeling, into what we're calling the Great Acceleration. I mean, really think about it for a second. The phone you're holding, or that's in your pocket, has more raw computing power than all of NASA did when they put a man on the moon. It's wild. Entire industries pop up and then vanish in what feels like a blink of an eye. You've got this constant stream of new ideas, new gadgets, new crises. It's totally understandable to feel like we are living through something completely unprecedented.
But what if I told you this isn't new? What if this feeling of constant, dizzying acceleration is actually part of a very, very old pattern? A predictable rhythm that goes back thousands of years to the dawn of human civilization. Okay, let's get into it. To really get this, we have to look at history a little differently. Not as just one long, messy timeline, but as a series of distinct phases, or transitions. And here's the kicker. Each one is way faster and shorter than the one before it.
This image says it all. Just look at that top bar. See that massive chunk of time on the left? That's the agricultural era. Now look at the blocks to the right. They get smaller and smaller and smaller. Each block is a total societal reboot, and the time between those reboots is shrinking consistently by about a factor of 3. It's an incredible visualization of history speeding up.
So how can we wrap our heads around these massive shifts? Well, the sources give us some really cool analogies. Think of the agricultural revolution like a gas condensing into a liquid. As population pressure built up, humanity was kind of forced into a denser, more settled way of life. The rise of cities and civilization, that was like an insurance model, right? You centralize power and resources to protect against big risks like famine or war. And my favorite one, the Industrial Revolution, is a chain reaction. One invention literally sparks the next, and the rate just keeps picking up speed. Each transition solves an old problem, but in the process creates the conditions for the next, even faster shift.
Okay, so things are speeding up. But why? What's the engine under the hood that's been driving this for millennia? Turns out, the answer is a simple, elegant pattern that just repeats over and over again. And that pattern is this, the S-curve. This is basically the life cycle of any new technology or idea. It always follows these 3 stages. First, a really slow start, while we're all just figuring it out. Then, whoosh, this phase of explosive, rapid growth where it takes over everything. And finally, it starts to level off as it hits some kind of natural limit.
Moore's Law is the classic example, right? For decades, the power of computer chips just went vertical. It was this incredible rocket ride. But now, well, we're bumping up against the actual laws of physics. We can only shrink transistors so much. That S-curve is beginning to flatten out. And that's not a failure, by the way. It's just what happens. It's the predictable end of one specific paradigm.
And this is the most important part. Just as that old S-curve for silicon chips is maturing, a new one is just getting started. Maybe it's quantum computing, maybe it's something else, but a new paradigm is waiting in the wings, ready to start its own S-curve. And this new one is going to be even steeper, even faster than the last. So here's the big reveal. When you stack all these S-curves on top of each other, from vacuum tubes to transistors to integrated circuits to whatever's next, what you get looks like one single, continuous, upward explosion of growth. The great acceleration we feel isn't just one thing. It's a relay race. It's technology handing off the baton to an even faster version of itself, over and over and over again.
So, if this pattern holds true, if this acceleration is itself accelerating, where on earth does it end? What's the logical conclusion of a trend that just keeps getting faster?
This is where it gets really mind-bending. The rate of change is changing. The time it takes for us to jump from one S-curve to the next is getting shorter. This quote I saw in some of the online discussions just nails it. The rate of paradigm shifts is doubling every decade. Just let that sink in. The amount of change we'll see in the next 10 years could be equal to the previous 20.
And that line of thinking leads you straight to a concept you've probably heard of, the singularity. It's that hypothetical point in the future where this curve of progress goes almost vertical. A moment where technological growth, maybe powered by a self-improving AI, becomes so fast and so profound that our human brains just can't keep up. It's a future that is fundamentally impossible for us to predict. But hold on, is this runaway train a sure thing? Because there's a really strong counter-argument that says this great acceleration might be about to hit a massive brick wall. Which leads us to the critical question we have to ask ourselves. Is this exponential freight train an unbreakable law of the universe? Or are there some fundamental limits out there that could slam on the brakes?
The whole debate really boils down to this one central conflict. On one side, you have the fact that our tools for solving problems, our computers, our AI, our science, are getting exponentially better. But on the other side is a sobering thought. We've picked all the low-hanging fruit. The easy problems are solved. The problems we have left are exponentially harder. So, which one is going to win? Our growing intelligence or the growing difficulty of our challenges?
So let's look at the roadblocks. You've got hard physical limits, like we talked about with silicon chips. You've got the simple fact that providing clean water to a village is a fundamentally easier problem than, say, reversing human aging. Then there are the really deep mysteries, like consciousness. We've made zero progress there, which is a big deal if you're hoping for things like brain-computer interfaces. And of course, there's the big one, the risk that a truly intelligent AI might not have our best interests at heart. That would be less of a speed boost and more of an existential dead end.
But for every hurdle, there's a rebuttal. The optimists will tell you that new paradigms will always show up to get us past the old limits. They argue we won't just build AI, we will literally merge with it, becoming a kind of human-machine hybrid superintelligence. And with that kind of brainpower, problems that look impossible today, like curing aging or even understanding consciousness, might suddenly look trivial. In this view, AI isn't some alien other, it's just the next step in our own evolution.
Okay. This brings us to one last analogy that I think perfectly captures the high-stakes moment we're in right now. Forget all the other ones. Right now, at this moment in history, humanity is conducting a rocket launch.
What does a rocket do? It burns an absolutely insane amount of finite, non-renewable fuel in a very, very short period. Well, that's us. The entire modern world has been built on a one-time inheritance of fossil fuels. We are burning through our planet's saved-up energy to power this unbelievable vertical ascent.
And what's the goal of this launch? To use all that temporary energy to achieve something permanent, to reach a stable orbit, a new, advanced, and truly sustainable way of living where we don't need that finite fuel anymore. And here's the most critical part. It's a one-shot deal. It's irreversible. You don't get a do-over on a rocket launch.
So that's the ultimate question, isn't it? After thousands of years of accelerating change, it all comes down to this moment. Are we using the fuel from this great acceleration wisely enough to actually reach that self-sustaining orbit? Or are we going to burn out before we achieve escape velocity and fall right back down? The historical pattern is clear. The stakes couldn't be higher, and honestly, the outcome is anyone's guess.